everyone, we're now into the third and final Mercury retrograde of the year. Now, I kind of keep getting downloads that Mercury retrograde is only as powerful as it is now because more and more people know about it, think about it, put energy into it. It happens with everything. Now, some people won't agree and they say it was always the case. But when you didn't know about Mercury retrograde, how much did you attribute to Mercury retrograde and how much did you attribute just to your life being us having certain cycles? The thing is, what has happened these days is humanity has moved out of living in cycles. We're provided with things that mean that our life doesn't have a natural cycle. Like back when in the ancient times, our ancestors would have eaten according to cycles. So sometimes during the year there'd be certain foods that weren't available. There'd just be ways that they would know they can't do certain things at certain times. So life was natural cycles. So like retrogrades and stuff would have just felt like a part of a time in a cycle, and there would have been an acceptance. Now I think what happens is we have an idea that we know is coming up, so we all get very like, you know, like, oh god, it's that time. I think if we just kind of get into acceptance of this is the energy of the time and this is how it works, so we adjust accordingly each time. So when it's retrograde, we know that there's going to be irritating things usually that happen with electricals, and there'll be irritating people who try and contact us from the past, or we might actually end up being the irritating person who contacts people from the past. You might be the ex. But what I mean is, when we be in acceptance as this is a cycle, it stops being like, oh my god, it's retrograde, it's the enemy, and it becomes, oh, it's retrograde. However, here's the caveat for this one. This one, since the last full moon, there's been a very, very challenging shadow feeling. People have been faced with a lot of shadow work. Now, I predicted this last year, but I wasn't on TikTok, so you wouldn't have known that there'll come a time this year where if people hadn't done a lot of their actual shadow work, of the thought they had done it or hadn't even tried, they'd be feeling at the moment like it's their mind. Like, oh, you know, a lot of dark feelings. And I'm not saying there's anyone right now who isn't actually just mental health feeling dark feelings, but there are people who it is shadow work. Now, what I would say is try and get to a space of acceptance of the energy. Try and observe what comes up. Don't force anything away. Don't judge it. Try and sit with it and try and make peace with it, and you might